We can go ahead and start. Joe, Dave was just in here and talked about Brady Christensen being kind of a blessing because he can play so many spots. How is it trying to train guys up for multiple things at one time?
It's tough, just because there's only a certain number of reps during practice. So, we go out there with a plan to saying, hey, where is he today? Is he going to be at guard or tackle, that part of it, So it's difficult, as far as getting a guy trained up. That's what OTAs, the off season's for. So if you know a guy that's going to be kind of a multiple, spot player, you try to get as many reps as you can then, because with training camp, it's hard.
Ickey is a guy who had a rough second year. What have you seen from him so far in his development, and then what type of leap do you expect from him this third season?
I think the biggest thing with Ickey is obviously is consistency. And he's a guy that wants it. He works hard. And that's the biggest thing for me that I've been working with him, is just trying to be more consistent on a daily basis. He's fun to work with. He's got a great personality and that part of it. But it's the everyday of just being consistent and telling him, hey, the great ones do the same thing over and over again. And they get really good at it, and I think that he's starting to buy in. Honestly, today, and I haven't watched the tape yet, but really kind of saw him for the first time kind of slow down and really kind of try to take that home a little bit, which has been a progress through camp. But I think he's getting there, Are we there yet? No, but I think he's getting there for sure.
Coach, anything you felt like you had to undo from last season with Ickey in particular? Any habits that may have formed last year that you had to kind of unlearn?
The biggest thing for me is I remember Ickey coming out of college, where I was somewhere else. I obviously had to write him up as coming out of college and looking at him. And again, it's really him being detailed, whether it's footwork, whether it's using his punch, all of that type of thing. And really kind of, the first thing we did when we got here is just sat down with Ickey. And, the best thing you do is you show somebody on tape, hey, this is what's good, this is what's bad. Do you agree with me? That part of it. And because we're in this together. I mean, there's no question about that. And the positive with him is he sees it, and when he has a bad day, there was a practice, that he went out there, wasn't from a lack of effort or anything like that, but he was kind of inconsistent with some of those things. And, when he looked at it, he's like, I said, all right, what do you think? He goes, I agree with you. It's not good enough, So it's that part of it. When he starts seeing it himself, that's when you really start making some progress.
You had mentioned to us, Joe, that he's taking more advantage of the resources here than he did last year. I think he referenced you, and obviously, what does that look like? And have there been any days when you got kind of a call or something or text out of the blue from him that kind of gave you pause?
Not really a text or anything like that. I don't know what went on here last year. Again, I watched the tape. I came in and said, hey, this is where we got to build as far as that level of consistency. And again, it goes back to him buying in for whatever reason, and I think that's, and again, my personal style of coaching and getting to know the guys and kind of building a relationship that they know I've got their back and vice versa, and I think that's important. This is, at the end of the day, we all know it's a business, but at the same time, it's a people business, and when you can reach them, they know you have their best interest at heart. I think they're going to go out and they're going to try to do what you ask them to do. And hopefully that's why, hopefully when we get into the games, you'll see that there's a level of consistency he's starting to have.
Joe, did you notice an immediate comfortability when Austin switched back to center, and how have you seen him even kind of grow that through camp?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough position in there because we ask them to do a lot as far as, making the IDs, running the, everything starts from inside out. So from the run game to the pass game, protections, the whole thing. And Austin's a smart guy, and I think he's embraced that position now and really seen him starting to grow with it, I think early on, he was like, can I, a little bit, can I do this? Do I want to do that? But without question, he has embraced it and really is starting to grow with the whole thing. And we start seeing that in practice and his performance as well.
Joe, last year, Chandler Zavala had a lot of adversity. He had some poor tape too. It seems like he's improved pretty mightily with Damian Lewis kind of sidelined for a little while. What have you noticed from him at left guard, and how have you kind of worked on some of his the aspects of his game?
Like Goody works with the guards for the most part, and the times I've had him with the combination blocks and the stuff we do there and the pass protection. I think Chandler's another one that has, taken what we're trying to teach to heart and has bought in. And I think that's a big thing. It's like anybody, if you don't believe in what we're teaching, I don't care who you are at whatever level, you're not going to make any progress. Chandler's got some really good athletic ability. He's got power. He's got all the traits you're looking for. And I think part of it is just building his confidence up and then him believing in what we're trying to teach and putting the two together. I think you're starting to see him, come around and do some good things.
You mentioned watching the film of last year. What did you see of that?
I'm sorry, you have to start again.
Watching the film of last year and where you needed to improve. What did you see of the interior line last year when you watched film? And how do you feel like you guys have improved in what you're seeing now?
I just think that, I'm not comparing any of the guys from last year. We looked at it, the guys that we have here, we made notes on what they need to improve on individually, and that's what we did. The guys that aren't here, that's not my issue anymore. So I think that the guys we brought in, Rob Hunt, Damian Lewis, come in from two different systems, but two guys that have fit in extremely well and are working their tails off. They buy into what we're doing from a schematic standpoint and from a fundamental standpoint. So can't say enough about them. And they're great role models for the younger guys. You you look at Chandler in there, and Brady is take reps at guards, and we got we had 4 young guys last week that came in from Monday to the game, and they listened to us. We got them ready in time to go out there and play a game, and they did a hell of a job for a short period of time. And now they're out there with the older guys and really kind of watching them how to do it, and then build on that from last week to this week.
Joe, this starting group, I realize you haven't really seen them in action, in game. But overall, do you feel like the strength of this offensive line is their run blocking or their pass blocking? And I guess one of the reasons I asked that is because last year it was 56 sacks and it was kind of rough at times. What do you feel like is the strength of this unit? Is this a better run blocking or a better pass blocking unit?
It's a good question. I think that honestly, my opinion, they've got to be able to do both. We have to protect the quarterback. That's an obvious thing. Otherwise, I won't be standing up here very long. I think that both the people we brought in, Timo and Icky that were here, Austin going to center, I think they have all the traits to do both. Obviously running the football is going to help us in pass protection, and keep it third and manageable, and doing those things. I think the play actions and the other things that we do are also things that are going to help us in that mode, And the one thing I love about the system we brought here is with Dave and Brad, it's consistent. We know how we're going to protect. We know our rules. Week in, week out, there'll be a tweak here and tweak there. It always is. But, and the other good thing is we've seen a lot of the stuff that we're going to see, moving through from, Jiro and his staff on the defensive side. They run everything. So, we have had to prepare for all that here in camp, and all that is done has made us better.
Joe, you say that Damian has been a role model to the younger guys. What's the most important thing that he's kind of passed on to them?
I think part of it is every day going out there. It's a grind. It ain't an easy. O-line's it's a bring your lunch pail and go to work type deal. And that's what I said earlier about doing the same thing over and over again. That's what you have to do at offensive line to get good. It's not, hey, one day I'm going to do this thing and the next day I'm going to try this. And your muscle memory, the things that you got to do, it's got to be consistent. And I think Damian brings that part of it. I think he brings a level of toughness and grit that we need to the group, and and I think at times he's spoken up and has given that type of leadership to the group, which is really good.
Joe, you mentioned Goody works with guards. You're out there with the tackles. Having Khalid there also to help sort of divide the labor, how do you guys kind of chop that up, and how does that benefit the group as a whole, having multiple guys?
Goody and I have done this for years now, and I think the one thing you find out, it's not one guy out there. You have 15 guys here at camp, and you got one guy taking snaps, and 14 or the other 12 or 13 are standing behind watching. A lot of times guys do drills that might not be particular specific to a tackle compared to a guard toward a center. So the way we break up our individual combination blocks and stuff, you don't have a choice. You're going to, go ahead and do those. But when you get into the individual stuff, the centers are getting taught what they're going to need. Goody's taking the guards, I got the tackles, and now, you've got those guys are getting more reps during individual. They're working specifically techniques related to their position. When you're trying to block an outside edge rusher, it's completely different blocking a Derek Brown inside. Your set lines, your punch, the whole 9 yards is completely different. But when you're one person trying to do it all, it's hard. You're not going to keep changing your drill back and back to meet each individual guy. So obviously, I think the reason our guys have taken some steps forward is because they've gotten more reps through the course of this time, not just in team periods, but also in individual.
You had experience with Dave last year, so how would you describe his philosophy offensively from your standpoint, and why has it been successful with quarterbacks?
The one thing, Dave did a great job, in my opinion, working with him. There's two things: he's the same guy every day. We went through a rough stretch last year. I think we lost like 6 games in a row. He never changed. Positive, upbeat, and I think when the players really started to see that, they're like, this guy's the same guy. And we came to work every day, as he always says, we got a new set of downs, and we turned the corner and we got it going. And he was the same with us. I've been in different rooms where guys are all great when it's winning. When you lose, it's a different ball of wax, and that's not Dave. And I was like, and I bought in. We all did, and I think that's number one. The second thing is, I think that transformed over to the quarterback. I think it's going to do the same here. And the other thing is he did a really good job of narrowing down, okay, this is what this guy can do. And that's what we did, and we kept it that way. And we built on it, and that's when we kind of turned the corner a little bit last year. And I'm excited to see what him and Brad and those guys do on the offensive side of the ball.
Appreciate it.
Welcome. Thank you.